Kathy Ellerman, and this is Almeria Life, bringing you news and information about the Costa Almeria, and brought to you by Remex Paraíso, the experts in property sales in this corner of Spain. Now, I would say that it's quite true to say that the British have a little bit of a reputation of being on the eccentric side, and I would also think it's possibly true to say that the Hash House Harriers, which I think I'm correct in saying this, was founded in the 1930s in colonial Malaysia by a bunch of army officers and expats, is possibly an example of this famous eccentricity. And we have in the office today Chris Morgan, the Grand Master of the Indalo Hash House Harriers, who I think is going to explain what I mean by that. So are the Hash House Harriers, is it a running club? Which, yes it is. Or is it a bunch of nutty Brits getting together?
Well, it's actually, I would say, a combination of that and many other things. The thing is, I mean, staggering though it may seem, I would say every country in the world has at least one hash, not just in the major cities. I'll be in, even Mongolia. Yes, I was in Mongolia for a year working, and there was hash there. Mind you, that could only run in the 1 week of the year when there was sun in Mongolia, warm enough to go out in shorts and t-shirts. But no, it's totally worldwide. Although I'm called Grand Master, there's nothing Masonic about it, in case people who venture upon this thing might think so. Although there are not rules as such, but conventions. And so there are, when we start, there's a circle, which is basically to gather everybody together. That's my job then, is to call people into the circle. We have an RA, that's religious, and his job really is to, it's progressed over the years from being something that may have been vaguely religious to these guys, but he basically administers the sins, which are called down-downs, that people commit during the run.
Right.
Down-down basically is drinking a beer. It doesn't have to be alcoholic if you happen to. We have, in fact, our RA let him go on drinking.
Right.
And basically, he then administers the flock that have sinned, bringing them to the circle. They call in if someone says had an accident, or it could be something as trivial as that their team actually has lost a game during the week. The football team, that is, or maybe even won a game. In my case, it was I was lucky that Scotland actually won in Italy in the rugby, so that saved the wooden spoon and the down therefore for me. But so he will then, or the GM will then hand out the awards before our hash flash, who takes all the photographs for us, forgot his batteries one day in the camera, so we had an all battery charger, which is some size of some weight, so he had to run around with that. So it's all a bit silly, carrying on the eccentricity of it. The trail is set by hairs, and it can be anywhere. Our range really is a square from Almeria up to Serón, across to Vélez, well, Blanco, Cantorium, which is just about, down to Puerto Lumbreras and back again. So it's quite a
vast area, yeah, really covering the whole province. Well, but then this part of the province really isn't it?
Yes, I would say it's worth it because it is exercise. It's people of a certain age who need to be persuaded that just because they're of a certain age doesn't mean to say they're past it in exercise or anything. We have a number of walkers who bring their dogs to get up to. So, but ours is very much a family-oriented hash here. We have youngsters, teenagers, right the way through to, we have an 80-odd-year-old guy who puts some of us younger people to shame, and of course all ages in between, and so there's no age barrier, no sex barrier.
So there is, I mean, so there is, you know, to make it clear to people, there is a serious exercise side to it. It's encouraging people to do some kind of activity, but it doesn't matter whether they're a real runner,
No.
or somebody who's more of a walker?
In fact, one of the downs which you will get at the end of the run would be what we call an FRB, which is a front running, and you can work out what the B stands for. So the thing is that we don't encourage people to treat it as a race, because it certainly isn't that. There are two separate runs, one indeed for the runners, which is 7 to 10k, and the walkers probably around about 5, to try and get them to come back. There are along the route there will be check back here and there, which will mean you go on a false trail, and then you have to come back to a circle in our case, which is a check, and then that gives you a chance to regroup the runners, because some will obviously be quicker than others. We have a couple of guys that have knee problems and hip problems, but they cope very, very well. And it's not over flat ground, it's over any sort of ground that the hare or the hares decide to send us, through rivers, up mountains, down into the valleys and all around the place. It's very, very interesting, more so probably for the walkers, because they amble and ramble, verbally and physically. So they're in a little world of their own, but they do tend to see more things of interest.
And of course, to different things every time. Is every week or every fortnight?
Every fortnight. The second and fourth Sunday of the month here at 1 o'clock. That's merely because it would be, our membership is, we have a healthy membership. Our runs each time between 20 and maybe 40 people turn up, but it's not the same necessarily. But it is good fun.
This is it. It's a lot of fun as well, isn't it? As well as the sort of eccentric, very British eccentricities related to it. And of course, then there's the sort of post-run stuff as well, isn't there? I believe there's quite a strong social element to it, apart from the fun whilst you're actually doing the runs.
We have, once the run is over, we regroup. We have what is the after-run circle, where the RA comes into his own. Then the on-sec will give out any notices, inform people of where the next hash is, so on and so forth. And then there'll be an on-after, which everybody's invited to. Not everybody goes. They have, each individual has his own, their own commitment. So that will normally be in a hostelry somewhere. Again, people drive, so they don't have to drink, but there's normally food laid on. But out with that, we also have, once a year, we have our annual dinner and dance. Sounds grand, doesn't it? But it's really basically a gathering of all those that are still in the country, and it will be November, December time. It was in the hotel here in Mojácar this year, the year before. It was in a hotel in San Juan de los Toreros.
Right.
So it's not always in the same place. But in between that, there will be other social gatherings. We had 2 or 3 teams in a raft race, which was at the Lake Negrotin at Bahaway.
Yeah.
Anything that's going on where we can, if you like, promote ourselves, because we're always looking for new members. The emphasis, I would say, is twofold. One is on the getting you out, getting you moving in beautiful countryside and meeting people, which is really the second side of the social aspect. Right. We have amongst the people on the hash, we have retired prison officer, policemen, pub landlords, landladies, people from all different walks of life.
So it's a real mix, a nice social mix, and all different interests.
I imagine it's all very friendly. We have a DJ, and we have some kids who are, I mean that disparagingly, but youngsters who are still at school age that come along. All nationalities.
I was going to ask that, because as I've been emphasising, it's such a British thing, but it isn't just for British people, obviously, is it?
No, not at all. Especially as we're in somebody else's country, as the hash would be in everybody else's country. We have Spanish speaking on the hash, so we have some Spanish people, we have people of other nationalities as well. So it's very much a wide catchment of people and backgrounds, and it seems to work quite well. It's conducted in English, but when we have Spanish along, either somebody would translate or we would say certain things in Spanish, and our hymn that we sing at the end is just ultimately translatable. It's just like a song, basically. So that nobody need to feel left out.
Right.
If you're bashful, doesn't matter. You don't have to join in. Only when you're called to the circle. I mean, there are some people, of course, who, as I mentioned before, don't like that sort of thing, but would just stay on circle, just basically to be as friendly as they possibly can. It would be like being in a social club, which is basically what it. We try and make it more of that than anything else.
And sort of good-natured joshing rather than
yeah. It's a nice old word.
Good-natured joshing.
Yes, absolutely. Try and explain that one.
It doesn't translate.
It doesn't seem to, but no.
And you said that, you know, it's really open to everybody. You've got members from children who are still at school up to somebody who's 80. But you're always on the lookout for more people. If people want to, and I'm sure there will be people watching this who think, yeah, I could definitely fancy giving that a go.
And if I never put them off anyway.
Reasons. But, so how do they get in contact with you?
Well, we have a website, which I think
people can find the details in certain local publications, or they do a Google search for the Indalo Hash House Harriers, and they'll find the website, contact details, and so on. So
they can contact me direct if they want. My number's, if anyone's watching, 627 225 223.
Right.
And if they just say, oh, it's about the hash, then I'll be more than pleased to talk to them. If it's somebody in this particular area, I live in Beara, they don't have any transport, then obviously we can try and make some arrangement to pick them up. Or if they live anywhere else, if they're out in the countryside, I suspect they would have transport.
Yeah.
But they may like to contact somebody or we can arrange for someone to contact them initially to take them along so they know what's involved.
Yeah.
And then they can make their mind up. They haven't wasted their petrol finding out that they do or don't like it. Excuse me. So, but yeah, anyone, any age, any gender, any religion even. Because although we do, it is a predominantly drinking that goes on. Well, after the running and the walking, I have to say. We do have lemonade and water for those that don't drink, or those of a religious persuasion that won't allow them to.
Sure.
And of course, if there's anybody who is offended by what we do, excuse me, then they can always, without sounding nasty, they can always leave early, or stand apart while we make fools of ourselves and then rejoin for the more social aspect after. So nobody would be excluded from anything other than that which they wish to exclude themselves from, and it wouldn't be frowned upon, because we like to think that we're all enlightened, tolerant. But it is a somewhat addictive thing, and if it's for some people the only social and physical outlet that they have, once every 2 weeks is probably worth considering. We're nice people.
Well, I have to confess that many years ago, down on the Costa del Sol, I did actually do a hash house when I was living down there very briefly, and I can vouch for the fact that it is very British in its accent. Well, that it's certainly, I can vouch for the fact that it's quite a unique experience. It's enormous fun. And you do get to do some exercise, and it's really worth giving a go. I think I'd recommend anybody to give it a try, and it's a fantastic way to really see the area as well, isn't it?
It is,
Marvellous way to see it, Anyway, Chris, thank you very much. This has certainly been very interesting
well,
insight
into
the hashes, and I'm sure there may well be many people out there who've never heard of it who would certainly be interested. So hope plenty of people will get in touch and swell the numbers.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity. I mean, it is welcome. Thank you very much, and I just hope that my delivery won't put anybody off. I shall obviously be embarrassed when I hold the next circle, because people
so
will probably
you're
see
going to have
this.
to pay for the Almeria Live interview.
I certainly will, yes, I certainly will. So why did you say that? Why didn't you say this? But there you are, that's part and parcel of it.
That's part and parcel of it, as you say. It's been an education.
Well,
thank you.
Again, thank you very much.
Thank you.